moving on to roll call.
President Roger Sporkowitz.
Present.
Vice President Tim Arvanitis.
Present.
Secretary Paul Petrie.
Here.
David Tarosi.
Here.
Tom Fulk.
Here.
Attorney Christian Bartholomew.
Here.
Fire Chief Robert Patterson.
Here.
Deputy Fire Chief Dave Meyer.
Here.
Recording Secretary Jen Chattel. Here.
All right, we've signed the meeting minutes from last time and are looking for approval of the meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to such? Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. Minutes are approved. Correspondence, anything has come up, Chief?
No correspondence.
All right. Old business, starting off with the continued review of the Merit Board rules. We were provided that via email with a markup.
Yeah, did everybody get that? Does everybody have copies? I've got a few extras if.
I could use
anybody-
a copy, I was out
Okay.
of town. Thank you.
So, I didn't do a whole lot to these. What you'll find is pretty much everything that we discussed at the last meeting that we checked off was an approved change. I've now incorporated those. There were a couple of items that I just wanted to highlight on Section 4, Item C, Part 3. We had some discussion about the age limits and lateral hires. And I talked to Chief about that today as well, and Dave Meyer. And the language that you see in there now that's underlined states that, the age range is 20 to 40. Notwithstanding, the age requirement shall not apply to a person who has previously been employed as a member of the department. And it reads like that now because that language pretty much comes straight out of the statute. The discussion the last time was whether it should be a member of the department, as in Schererville Department, or whether that age limit would apply to lateral hires or not. I did some research on that issue, and as is the case with many things with this statute, this particular provision doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The PERF statute, which also has age limits in it, allows for lateral transfers. It basically says the person can be over 40 years old as long as they can get their 20 years in when they join the department before, I think, age 60, I think it is. That seems to make sense because somebody might have some time built up and they join when they're, 45 as a lateral and they've already got 10 years under their belt, no problem, right? The Merit Board statute, on the other hand, specifically says member of the department, which would limit it to this department. And I know it seems like a fine distinction, like getting into the nitty-gritty, but as I told Chief, that's exactly the sort of distinction that a court would hang its hat on if there were a case filed over this. So on the present draft that I've got before you, I did not change that to expand to other departments simply because my legal advice is the way the law reads right now. It says the department, which I believe a court would read to mean
The fire department.
this department.
Okay, not the department of the town as opposed to.
The department of the town as opposed to any department or a department. That's the kind of fine distinction we would be looking for if lateral hires were exempted from the age requirement. Now, in my opinion, that's a really stupid way to write the statute. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it probably needs to be changed.
Yeah, it leaves too much ambiguity.
But I think that's a matter for the legislature to look into. So I've left the language as is because it reflects the current state of the law. And my understanding is, we have not had the situation arise recently, at least. If they change the law, that would be great. We can revise it, but I kind of feel like my hands are tied there, at least as far as the legal advice that I can give to you. In the department, it's the department, so that's why I left it that way. Don't know if there's any questions or.
Well, and according to the definitions that we provided, that's why I was just clarifying, is that the way we've defined department in the first section is, shall mean the town of Schererville Fire Department. So by saying the department, it basically specifically states fire department. If you have a policeman that's got 15 years of experience, then that wouldn't be allowed to be a transfer because our definition says fire department.
Right. Our definition says that, and I think, our definition is kind of reliant on the definition in the statute. And right now, the statute seems to keep it within the bubble of a single department. So a firefighter could leave this department prior to age 40. Let's say they left when they were 38 and they wanted to rejoin this department when they're 41. They could do that, and there wouldn't be any problem with that. But effectively, what the current statute sets up is a system where if you want to do lateral transfers, you got to do it before you hit age 40, which just seems screwy, but that's the way the law appears to be written. And I don't think it's consistent with what the PERF statutes provide for. But it's a problem. It's conflicting statutes the way they have it written right now.
I don't even think PERF limits the age. Once they're already in a department somewhere, they're covered under PERF, they can lateral transfer no matter what age, as far as I know. You agree?
Right.
Yes, fully.
That's why I'm saying, I think that the is really gonna handcuff you.
If anything, I would recommend, before making any changes to that, maybe this is one of the items that we need to get a weigh-in from the folks that wrote the statute, and if they have some opinion on what this was supposed to mean. I'm really reluctant to change something that would make it in direct contradiction to the way the statute's presently written. I have a strong feeling that's not what they meant, but that's what they said. So that's one provision that I left in there. A few other things that I added pursuant to our conversations at the last meeting. Same section 4, E2. I added some language there which is underlined, that the president of our board will select the 2 members who are going to conduct the grading as part of the hiring process. I didn't say anything about the PERF board and their 2 members because I think that's up to them to figure out who they want to send. I specified in there that passing score on the oral component of the aptitude test would be no less than 70%, which is the same as the written. Now, we may need some further discussion and may want to make some further changes to that. Just piggybacking on that, if you go down to section 4, same sorts of changes. That section pertains to the actual in-person oral interviews, which are sort of the second part of the testing phase. Again, the president of our board would select the 2 members participating in that process. And I've left in the line about a passing score shall be blank. In my conversations with Chief, he's indicated that the local pension board secretary would have access to our historic score records, and our conversation at the last meeting was, I think we need more data to determine what the passing score ought to be before we can pin a number to that, because at the end of the day, the fire department and its leadership and staff, they know what kind of people tend to work out, and they've had a lot of experience examining those scores in the past. And I'd love to hear their recommendation for, based on the prior records, what might be a good benchmark for that score. I think we need to collect a little bit more data on that point at this stage. So, Chief, do you think we would have that information available by the next meeting, or?
Yeah, I think we can be able to get that done.
Okay. Let me see if there was anything else substantive. I think that's pretty much it for issues of substance. So there's only a couple of things left to decide before we can get these things out there. Unless, you know, any of you on the board had further input, inquiries, felt anything else ought to be changed.
Anyone? Any other comments? Nope. All right, then we'll expect to see, or expect to hear a recommendation on a passing score from the department next meeting. And then moving on to an update on firefighter EMT new hires.
Yes, so the, one of the candidates is moving right along. The second one is going to be reviewed by the perf board, and will be determined on where we're going from there.
Yeah, and just to provide a little bit of context with that, as you gentlemen know, we approved a hiring list. Everyone on that hiring list had gone through the testing from this board, from the pension board. They'd passed the general aptitude test, et cetera. Last step is the review by the perf board or the pension board to determine that they can meet the psychological and medical requirements. So we've got one of our candidates whose results on those are being considered a little bit further by the pension board. I spoke with the pension board attorney last week about that. He's informed me that he expects to get a decision from the pension board probably in the next week, maybe the next couple of weeks. When we get feedback from them, we will know if he has passed their requirements or if he has not. If he is not, then we'll need to seek another candidate. And I think it would, reviewing the minutes from the meeting where we approved the hiring, I think what we said was we would take the highest scoring willing applicant, something like that. We didn't specifically say anything about what happens if they don't get through the pension board testing requirements. So based on my conversation with the pension board attorney, I think it would be a good idea if we had a motion from the board tonight simply stating that if all candidates are not approved by the pension board as required, that any such candidates will have their conditional offers revoked, and we will approve a conditional offer to be made to the next candidate on the list.
It's necessary?
As necessary, yeah, because, well, do you mean is the motion necessary?
Correct.
I think it would make the pension board feel more comfortable having a decision there. And it would also allow us, if they come back in the next couple weeks and they say, this fellow didn't pass, then
Then we can move forward.
we're already lined up to move forward and make a conditional offer to the next person on the list.
Do we have comment?
Well, I can make that motion, but I'd like to add the local pension board and/or PERF, or INPRIS, because a lot of times the local pension board passes the candidate, but then they'll find something medically down the road. Have you run into that?
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
A lot of times, INPRIS will find something down the road medically, even after the local board has passed them. So I don't mind making that motion, but I'd like to add and/or INPRIS or
I would agree with that, and I would just say that, you know, I did have that conversation with the attorney. He said, you know, the fact of the matter is, although the statute says has to be approved by the local board, the fact of the matter is, they send it downstate, and they're the ones that make the final call on that. So I think that's right on the mark.
So we need to make sure that we clarify that so that there's no tension between what we approved last time and a potential disqualification then.
Yeah, that's the idea. We didn't specifically address the contingency, what happens if somebody gets disqualified. I think this would just clear the waters a little bit, you know, and make very clear that we authorize going down the list if this candidate is not approved by the local board or PERF.
Any other comments?
No, if you're making
It's
a
a
motion, I'll
motion.
second it.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item C. I'm assuming the chief, you're going to provide that update?
Yes, so Mr. Polito has requested a hearing by the pension board, so he will be having a hearing coming up on February 24th. And then we'll be waiting for the results of that hearing. After that, we'll get back to you with more information.
Okay.
what's the date? I'm sorry?
February
February
24th.
24th, thank you.
Moving on, any new business?
No new business.
No reports?
No reports.
Nothing from me.
And board members, comments, questions, clarifications?
Chief, I have one.
Yes, sir.
In 2025, how many vehicle crashes did your department have?
How many did our department have, like our vehicles involved?
Correct.
Don't have that data right now.
Yeah, I only know of one, but it was this year.
Okay, but for 2025, you haven't had any?
Offhand, I don't recall any, but I could be wrong, but I don't have that report in front of me.
Well, I appreciate that. I know I threw it on you, but I just want to say congratulations to your firefighters for driving safely to emergency calls. I think they should be commended.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, as many miles as you guys put on annually. I know for law enforcement, it's 27,000 miles before an officer gets involved in a vehicle crash. So to hear that we had none last year by the fire department, that is,
We didn't say that.
None that we can recall.
all right, I'll take that as a none.
Nothing major.
Yeah.
Fender benders here and there, but we don't have the exact number.
No, but as long as it didn't bring liability to the towns. I mean, that's just flat out phenomenal. So our caps are off to you and your staff.
Thank you. And the one that happened this year was actually vehicle sitting still. We weren't the cause of the accident.
Perfect.
Any other comments from the board?
Sir.
All right. Looks like no business from the floor. Do you hear a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.